In this Java tutorial on array lists, we are going to learn about traversing an array list. Before watching this video, you should have a general understanding of traversing an array. For more information on that topic, please click on the link in the upper right-hand corner of this screen. Some important facts to know. We can use either a for loop or a for each loop, also known as an enhanced for loop, to traverse an array list. To calculate the size of an array list, we use the size method with parentheses after it. If elements are added or deleted during a traversal, objects may be outputted twice or missed entirely. Next, let's write some code to create an array list in memory. We start by declaring a variable of type list that will hold integer objects, and then initializing that with a new ArrayList object that will hold integer objects. Now we are going to add three numbers, 3, 1, and 8, to the array list on the heap. Now let's look at some code that will allow us to traverse the array list. We have a standard for loop. We start off by initializing I as 0, and we will continue as long as I is less than nums.size. .size is how we check the length of the array list. We remember that .length without parentheses is how we check the length of an array, and .length with parentheses is how we check the length of a string. The size is recalculated after each iteration of the for loop. So if we add or delete elements in the array list, the value that is returned here may change. We notice we are simply getting the values at each index and then outputting it to the console. However, we could do whatever we wanted with the data. Right now, the array list nums has a size of 3. However, like an array, array lists are 0 indexed. That means the first index is index 0, the next one is index 1, and in this case, the final index is index 2. This is why it's important to make sure I is less than the size of the array list, so we don't try to retrieve an index that isn't there. It's also important to understand that we must be cautious when adding or removing an index from an array list while we are traversing this. Because indexes will slide over when an item is either added or deleted, traversing an array list while we are adding or removing items may either cause an index to be returned twice or an index to be skipped. An important fact to know about array lists is that we can't get or set to an index that doesn't exist. In this case, index 3, because there is no index 3. However, we can add using the two-parameter add method to one past the final index. In this case, we could add to index 3 because that is where a new element would be placed anyway. We would not be able to add to index 4 because there is no index 3. Now let's look at an example of using a for each loop to traverse an array. A for each loop will go through each index, pull it out into some sort of temporary variable. The type of temporary variable will depend on the data type that is stored in the array. We made temp value an int instead of an integer object, which is stored in the array list, because we are depending on autoboxing to unwrap the integer for us into an int. In this case, we are outputting the value of the variable temp value. Remember, changing the value of temp value will not change the value in the array list itself. For further reading on array lists, please check out this website or type ArrayList, Java, Oracle into Google and choose the first result. To see the next video in this curriculum, please click on the video link in the left-hand side of the page. To see the entire curriculum, please click on the video link in the right-hand side of the page.